I thank the representative of Poland for the statement. I now give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Stavros Lambrinidis, Head of Delegation of the European Union to the United Nations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the Presidency for convening this meeting, and thank you to the briefers for their updates. Colleagues, in the 2 months since this Council last convened to address Russia's aggression against Ukraine, the aggressor state has further increased the intensity of its missile and drone strikes, once again throwing aside the calls of members of this Council. It doesn't care. It has, in fact, increased its systematical targeting of civilians and civilian infrastructure in clear violation of international law. On Tuesday, Russian attacks reportedly killed at least 25 people, including children, in 2 residential areas in Chernobyl. Earlier this week, we learned of an unprecedented act of sabotage involving the blowing up of a railway track in Poland. This incident directly concerns the security of an EU member state and its civilians. The threats to our security are real and growing. After investigations, the sabotage was attributed to individuals previously accused of cooperating with Russia. Russia continues to demonstrate what we have repeatedly warned about in this chamber. Not only that it lacks any real political will to end its aggression and engage in meaningful peace negotiations, but fundamentally that the only real root cause of this war is its desire to recolonize by force 34 years after it regained its independence as sovereign and independent member of these United Nations. Colleagues, the UN, in case we forget, was created to promote decolonization, not recolonization. Russia may want us to forget this, but we won't. While Russia cynically attacks Ukraine's energy sector ahead of a harsh winter, the call for an immediate, full, and unconditional ceasefire grows even louder. Ukraine demonstrated its readiness months ago. The UN Secretary General reiterated his call yesterday after yet another brutal overnight barrage when he called for a ceasefire, and I quote him, "as a first step towards a just, comprehensive and sustainable peace that fully upholds Ukraine's sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders, in line with the UN Charter, international law and relevant UN resolutions," unquote. All members of the Security Council repeated this call today. All except one, Russia. We welcome recent statements to this end by many countries from around the world as well. A ceasefire is a first necessary step towards a just and lasting peace. So today, we once again echo this message to Russia. Stop the killing, stop it, and join Ukraine at the negotiating table. There's a shocking truth, dear colleagues, about this war. According to credible reports, more than 1 million Russian soldiers have been killed or injured trying to conquer Ukraine. On many days, more than 1,000 young Russian men and women perish on the battlefield far from their homes. Over 3 years into what it had planned to be, remember, a 3-day war, Russia continues to be countered by the brave Ukrainian soldiers day after day. Colleagues, the European Union will sustain its diplomatic efforts towards peace, together with the United States and other partners. We will continue supporting Ukraine so it can remain in a position of strength with the means to continue exercising its inherent right to self-defense. Before, during, and after any ceasefire, this includes political, financial, humanitarian, military, reconstruction, diplomatic support. And we will further increase our coordinated pressure on Russia until it stops its war. All of us in this room should do that. When the European Union calls to increase pressure on Russia, it is not to prolong the war, but to push for peace, to create incentives for Russia to stop its systematic attacks, which include violations of European airspace, by the way, and to generally sit down for talks. Remember, Russia too committed itself to this by voting in favor of the Path to Peace resolution in February of this year. But then again, Russia may feel little compulsion to comply with Security Council resolutions or any other resolutions of the UN if third countries and actors and entities therein continue enabling Russia's war of aggression. We condemn again the continued military support provided by Iran, by Belarus, and by the DPRK, and we urge all countries, including members of this Council, to immediately cease any direct or indirect assistance to Russia in its war of aggression. And we call on Russia and Belarus to immediately ensure the safe return to Ukraine of all Ukrainian children unlawfully transferred and deported to Russia and Belarus. We fully support Ukraine's initiative to seize the General Assembly of the immediate need to return the Ukrainian children. The international community must do everything in its power to take concrete measures that facilitate that safe return. Colleagues, in closing, I reaffirm our continued and unwavering support for Ukraine's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders. This may sound like an obvious point, but it is one worth repeating in case Russia hopes that the blatant violation of the UN Charter by a permanent member of this Security Council can be normalized, so long it is continued unabated and so long as the aggression gets worse. Thank you.
I thank His Excellency, Mr. Lambrinidis, for his statement.